Hello, Rebel 10A, GMan 10A in fact. Welcome back to the second consecutive week of recaps, so well done there. Me, and of course McNaughton, who's here too.
Hello everybody, and I'm still waiting for Metal to do an introduction to this where he doesn't mess it up.
I got that perfect. That was flawless. Nobody noticed a thing. We'll cut it out in post, it'll be fine.
Oh.
That's the joke. There is no post.
You'd never guess, would you?
No, you can never guess we make this up as we go along. It's fine. Anyway, it's not. I mean, to be fair, right? I think everyone's just happy they're getting one, and then they'll like look at Haringzods, which are insanely professional in the true Haringzod style, and go, "Why can't we be in GMan 9?"
Yeah, but by the same point, Lewis M's probably like me. Well, we had Andy Devil last season, and we got one, so we're already twice as lucky.
3 times if you count the preview.
Oh, three times lucky. There we go.
Once,
Lewis, we're on a roll.
once, twice, 3 times a preview.
Exactly.
Right, so let's take a quick look at the schedule and see how well our predictions were or were not. Now, instantly, something jumps out of me here, which was...
the fact that I didn't bother going back and listening to what I gambled on last time, so I'm relying on you to know what I said.
Like, I paid attention. I mean, the viewers will tell us, it'll be fine. There's a few things that jump out of me, and one of them is that the Kislev one, which we did say could happen.
I played those kids left, and it does not surprise me that they won.
No, but against Wood Elves, to be fair. That's
That's
an interesting game. I think the story is absolutely in the armor breaks there when it looks like the Kislev went off on one again and smacked a bunch of Wood Elves around. Yeah, there's like 4 injuries, 5 KOs. I mean, to be fair, in return, for only 4 blocks, every block was a Kaz or a KO from the Woodies too. So.
Yeah, and I mean, they did basically break armor 50% of the time as well. So, I mean, Lucian clearly putting away those broken dice from last week.
Yeah. No, I mean, he looks like... And look, you know what, right? He got a Blitz level off the MVP, at least. That's really good. Unfortunately for Tooth and Coats, stolen by the loner. Feels bad, man. We'll have to check to see if he hired Zasala. And we'll do that right now. Did he do it? If you've got the cash, it's kind of worth it, right?
That is a lineman, though, so it probably depends on how good the rest of the
5
positionals
SPP
are.
Elf is pretty good. He didn't hire it. He doesn't have the cash.
Yeah.
So... Oh, wow, I like this. I've just realised that his player names are actually Games Workshop paint colours as well. So there's that. Anyway.
You sure this isn't Hargrim we're talking about, though?
Hargrimzilla. Right.
Hargrimzilla, yeah.
The Glart's Death Grips took on the Mark of Nurgle and one. Now, we both kind of thought that was going to go that way, didn't we?
We did. Now, I actually caught the second half of this game, and let's just say Glart's went on a weird armor 20, and the Nurgle kind of went, we just want to hug you and stroke your hair.
Oh, dear. I mean, you went a bit Robotronic for a second there, but I caught the... Yeah, that's... I mean, they only got 23 blocks. Succeeded, but found 7 breaks from it. That's not terrible. Compared to 37 into 49, again, the numbers aren't too bad either way. They're not terrible.
Helgen, also a good MVP for him. So on to Nurgle Warrior. Now, he probably would have quite liked that on a rookie Nurgle Warrior.
No, you know what? 14 out of 16 is so good. If you can get that, 16 SPP is the point where Nurgle Warriors stop. I mean, they're nice with block, but as soon as they get that second skill, they really start being very, very good positionals, because either they've got Mighty Blow and can do some damage, or they've got guard, and your line becomes infinitely harder to break. It truly is. 16 SVP is the point where it stops feeling utterly horrible playing Nurgle.
Definitely. And Chugman Milk as well getting an MVP on a positional, which for Underworld, despite it being a Skaven lineman, it's still a positional, so it's still nothing to argue with.
You know what, right? Skaven linemen are you think of them as linemen until you play Underworld, and then you realise how good a stat line of 7337 is.
Yeah.
Especially with mutation access, right?
Yeah, definitely. So, sadly, Get Got is still alive. Me and, well, we'll come to it in a bit later. Me and Muppatillo were laughing at Helgen and someone else to kill the Clawmite Low players because we both have to face them next game.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it happened. Now, this one was an interesting one. The Elves Maybe a Season took on Thank You Parents and got a 2-2. Unfortunately, once again, we picked up a lineman MVP for Thank You Parents, which is unfortunate. He enjoys the pain. Grabbed one in return as well, and that's going to put him at 11. That's not terrible. Not many armor breaks for the elves, the high elves, to be fair. So
no, we probably didn't expect. We expected it to be an elf off in the typical sense. The dark elves, of course, picking up the MVP on a loner Ardmil as well. So I'm just going to have a quick check just to see if they did pick him up.
I was heading there as well, and he again didn't.
No, so that's a lot of elf players not liking loners. I mean, there is dedication to team themes, which I do like.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's 5 SVPs, a lot of SVP to chuck away for level 2 players, right?
Yeah. 120k in the bank, so I can understand if he is saving up for the second Witch Elf, though, Lassus, because he does have the 4 Blitzers and just one Witch Elf.
Right? 5 SPP is still really good. It's so good, I don't know.
Yeah, but would you take a second Witch Elf over a 5 SPP lineman? Because that's what you can buy.
I don't know.
No, Metal, you wouldn't. That is the answer.
I might, because
no, you wouldn't.
They used
you wouldn't.
To. Anyway,
you wouldn't.
The next one, you can tell us a bit more about this in detail. Did you murder the orcs, or did... Well, you probably didn't, given that it's 0-0.
Me versus Motillo, I really didn't look forward to this game having 2 Chorf blockers MNG for it, and not really much inducement cash. So, first half, you had to put some hobgoblins on the line. Muppetillo killed one, KO'd one straight away, and he did the semi-risky move of not fully caging turn 7 deep in my half, which meant I could then dodge out a Bull Centaur to triple GFI and sack the ball carrier, which I kind of did, and the ball scattered and went up the pitch. So I think Muppetillo was a bit disappointed by that. The only good news out the first half was my Claw Mighty Blow guy. There were a couple of Ks and a couple of KOs, which didn't come back. So second half, it was quite close, tooth and nail all the way, and he got a bit of a dodge and a 1-dice stack on my ball carrier, which I survived. And then, in order to clear off, I had to blitz with the ball carrier, who was my hobgoblin, who of course rolled a skull both down, re-rolled into a skull both down. And I thought, not the best. We were able to recover the ball, and I was faced with that dilemma of scoring on a hobgoblin to basically win 1-0, or trying to hand off in the rain to my killer, who is 2 SPP away from pile-on.
In the rain, though. In the rain. To an AG2. I mean, that's a 5. That's a... It's...
It was... I still would have had a ton to pick up with him as well. However, the handoff didn't work, and that's why we finished 0-0. So, overall, I do feel the draw was a fair result. Mainly based on the KO rolls that didn't come back from Muppetillo and my kind of dodging Bull Centaur nonsense, which stopped him scoring. So I do feel that was a...
We're going to move on. I know the next game was actually covered by Haringzord on Monday night, I believe it was. The Damned Horde taking on the Rap Scallywags, and it was 3-1 in the end to the Rap Scallywags. They did a bit of a number on the Damned Horde there. He was fairly even on armor breaks, which is kind of not what you want to see. One of the Rap Scallywags did die, but I don't think from memory it was anyone super important.
What we mean is the right one didn't die because he still has the Claw Mighty Blow vermin.
That and he's still got all of those move busted dudes as well, which is
he's still got plenty of red in the ledger.
I think it was just a lineman to be fair that died, but it's
It does look that way. It will be interesting to see what Kendrick Frofar does roll. Obviously, he's not taken that level up yet, and I am playing this team next.
Mind games, dude. That and desperately trying to trigger me because as anyone who remembers my old recaps way back in the day, I don't even talk about people who don't roll the level up. So we're not talking about any more about this team.
Well, we'll talk about it a wee bit because I do play it next. So hopefully there's going to be a lot more red.
Yes, and they were playing... Who were they playing again? It was the Damned Horde. Yes. And there's a lot of undead on this team now. They're up and... It was Lupak who died.
Sadly,
kept
all in the game.
Wow.
Shots fired.
Possibly comment.
Your silence says everything, Mel.
He did level Reaver, the ghoul, during the game, and was asking for advice, and I just said in chat, you know what I've advised. You know what I've suggested. And he has
took
gone
what
for
we
it.
said. Yeah,
It was a
the
10.
wrestle.
It was a non-doubles 10 in the end. Which made it a little bit harder to choose because movement's nice, but strength isn't that good on a plus movement ghoul, really. They don't really synergize all that well.
No, ideally you want the movement on a non-strength 4 just as your one-turn option. I have a wrestle strength 4 ghoul from Huge Jackman, and it's just silly. And wrestle is what I would have took as well.
Yeah, I really like the wrestle. If you've got like an agi up ghoul, move is incredible in that scenario. But move on this guy would have just been a bit of a waste because you're not really going to use him to one turn. You're going to use him to throw him into cages, try and sack them, or, to throw him against players, try and sack the ball, wrestle them down, and then probably get kicked in the head.
Yeah, and also you don't want to lean too much on one ghoul because they don't have regen. So if he goes movement 8, strength 4, and he is going as a ball sack and takes a kick in the head, it's a lot to lose on one ghoul if he does, die or take a perm.
Yeah, it's like I say, if you've got your one turn and your sacker.
Yeah, all built into one. It kind of ends badly at times. So moving on, the last pairing of the round was the Crocodile Dundees, which is Meshuggah, versus Smagi Severa, which is T-Cold.
Yeah, and it was a 1-1. We did say this could be a tough game, right?
Yeah. MVP for Meshuggah going on a skink, and MVP for Tico going on a kick lineman.
Not good either side, really, is it?
No.
Ooh. The story of the game here is going to be, right, the Crocodile Dundees converted 44 blocks into 11 breaks, which actually ended up being 2 KOs and 1 Kaz. Comparatively, 51 blocks, which is only 7 more, turned into only 4 more armor breaks at 15. 15 breaks resulted in 6 KOs and 5 injuries. That's a lot. That tells me that, frankly, Meshuggah must have pulled something out of the bag to turn that into a draw. I mean, he's actually got, as it stands, a missing Saurus at this point as well.
It does look so, yeah. Obviously, sadly, due to the dice log that we can't see when all these KOs or Kaz came because it could be turn 15, 16.
Or the good old make it look balanced routine.
Yeah, but definitely Meshuggah, a very good coach, and so is Tico. So it was always going to be a tough game, as we said, to call, and both probably happy to come out with it, not too much damage.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, an MNG Saurus is rough, but it's not the end of the universe, right?
No. And I presume Tico being happy that he's came out with no damage, which is always good for a Norse game.
Yeah, that's what Norse call a win.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to take a break before we look at the next set next week coming up, and we're going to go into what is going to become a regular spot, which is the getting to know you kind of section. We're going to focus on Meshuggah today. And we may talk about Helgen real briefly as well if we have time. We'll see how it goes. But first up, we're going to look at Meshuggah. We both know him very well. He's actually a veteran as far as coaching goes. He's been playing since the 80s, 86. He played in first edition, which is even earlier than I started on tabletop, believe it or not.
I'm just going to say that's before I was born, Meshuggah. So
three
old man mesh.
3 years after I was born, so not too bad. But yeah, playing in multiple years without and playing TT and whatnot. He's played hardcore competitive and purely casual, and now he just like chills out and plays games and chats to folks, which is kind of like the happy medium, isn't it? Yeah, it's how we met him. Was playing in a league that is less than serious.
Yeah. We both kind of met Meshuggah in the ADE league, and I think when me and Metal both like you, you're on to a winner with us.
Yeah.
And I think Metal agree. We're very happy that we managed to persuade him to come over to Rebel, and he does actually say that it was down to meeting guys like us, and that it's brought him across to us. So we're very happy to have him.
It was that, and we very much kind of talked him into clan, and then worked from there, didn't we?
Yeah, because we started off with the good stuff
and went get into clan. And then he saw the clan rules and was like, I'll do that. And I was like, well, why are you there? Just sign up for GMan, right? I mean, it's just one more
It was sort of like that, that free sample. Come to clan, no commitment to a clan. Just look, it's a free league. Just come join us here for a wee bit. And now we've got him hooked. And now he's just going to play in whatever we need him to.
Yeah, you'll be signing for 1 minute next. I'm telling you.
Exactly. Now, he did say some random facts about himself. So he is an extreme sports nutcase, in his words. Mainly extreme skiing. Used to be his sport of choice, but now he's all about downhill mountain biking.
And I mean, he's older than me as well, and I feel pretty old at times. So, yeah, careful with your knees, my sugar.
Yeah, and he does also say that he is a big heavy metal fan, hence the name of Sugar.
I would never have guessed.
Well, you know what? Who, in fact, for those that don't know, are a Swedish extreme metal band formed in 1987. So,
and he didn't say that. So you definitely looked that up.
I did indeed. Any excuse to Google Sweden and move on to Metal and McNugget now and then is a win in my book.
He did. Yeah, he also said as well. He started off being one of the admins in the Chaos Invitational, but by the end of our time there, he'd actually took over running it. Rebel, the representatives, including myself on the team, me, Rumblebee, Gerber, and Callisti Meyer, actually won the first season of the Chaos Invitational.
By 1 point. By 1 point.
By where? Hang on. Is it a win?
No, because how many? Did you win the final? Oh, you did win the final. Damn it.
Yeah, we did win the final as well. Gerber beat Shadora because it was actually Rebel and Rebel in the final, which was pretty awesome.
It was indeed, and the Rebel boys were myself, Shadora, Steak Mittens, and Kakengrad.
Oh, and he also admins in ICBBL. He kind of gets around a bit. Does my sugar?
Does. I know. I kind of feel like he's. Do you know what I mean? He got a roundabout with everybody else and finally came to us. I'm not sure we want sloppy fifths.
No, it's alright. He's here in the end, and like I say, he is very much a lovely fella. So if you do, when you do end up playing him, just give him just chat to him. He's lovely. Honestly, worth your time.
Exactly.
Another good guy. Although I don't know how good he is because he's a friend of yours.
This is a guy I like. Helgen, the Magnificent.
We're doubling up this week because we're kind of a little bit behind and we have to catch up. So we're going to do 2 this week. We might do 2 next week, and then we'll probably drop back to 1 so we can finish out the season. If you haven't filled out your questionnaire or you need a new copy because you've lost it or whatever, drop us a PM. But either of us can get it to you. And we'd love to chat a bit more about you. But yeah, Helgen's one of your mates, isn't he? So
I was also going to say, if you do need the sheet, make sure you put your coach name on, because
the problem was the first
we had to guess from
the
Sugar.
coach name wasn't there as an option. It was a fault with the sheet, but it's there now. Okay. It's fixed. It's fine.
Well, conveniently, and it's almost like we semi-planned this, but Sugar's next opponent is in fact Helgen.
It's like we planned it, man. It's like we planned it. So it is. Helgen says he's been playing only for a year. I actually met him right near the beginning. I met him through Andy Davos' stream and recommended him to the Rookie League, I believe.
Exactly. That's also where I met Helgen as well. And big contrast in times playing. So a year for Helgen himself, and he is a big necromantic fan. He's a big fan of claw, speed, and strength access. However, he's not playing necromantic this season, so maybe that's changed to Nurgle now.
Yeah, he did say his favourite team were necromantic, but he switched to Nurgle to not get murdered because his rat got murdered by someone dead in the Red Bull semis.
Yeah, I watched that. It wasn't pretty to watch. but I did, in fact, so one of the big reasons that Helgen came across here was he was playing in BBT, Blood Bowl Tactics, and I went across there last season, actually played there for a season, had a lot of fun talking about my games and stuff with Helgen, and managed to persuade him to come to the big boys at Rebel. And he is now here and probably regretting every moment of it because he now has me in his division.
Well, I don't know, because I mean, the one advantage is it's not BBT, right?
Yeah,
Helgen's
not an admin there, you're right.
ICBBL, it's fine.
Yeah. Helgen's not an admin there, it's fine.
Right. And he also does say as well, he's actually wants to play, he aspires to play for Team Norway on tabletop. Now, you've represented Team Scotland, right? Or is it Team...
I've not represented Team Scotland yet. That's one of my ambitions, is to in fact represent Team Scotland. Okay. I'm close to knocking on the door for them, I think. So maybe next year at the European and Euro Bowl. But Team Norway is in fact a very strong team. So a lot of hard work will need to go into that. But I'm sure if he puts the time in and stuff, I hope to see him one day representing Team Norway, sitting across from me as a representing Team Scotland at tabletop.
Yeah, and it would, to be fair, there's no better place to practice than Rebel, right?
Or against me.
Well, maybe not.
Which he gets like week 11.
Anyway, looking into this particular matchup, who is it you're favouring then? Because we've just looked at both of the teams real briefly on the screen. I mean, there's no claw yet on the Nurgle.
It's like trying to pick between my least favourite child.
Who is... Yeah, which one is the red-headed stepchild?
Yeah. Purely because Helgen has the... Oh, I can't pick between them, Metal.
I think it's going to go to... It's going to either be a draw, or no offence to Helgen, it's going to go in Meshuggah's favour, simply because he's got the slight advantage on the strength, and he's got more armour on the players that count. He's got more of... Even with one missing, he's got more players that count. He's got a little bit of inducements, so maybe he can pick up a bribe. Actually, he hasn't got inducements because he's got 2 skinks. So the inducements go over Helgen's way a little bit, but not much. It's fairly even. It's going to be a really, really close game, and it's going to be one of those really boring kind of just let Armour 9 hit each other a lot and hope one of them breaks. But I want to give it to the veterancy of Meshuggah.
I know. I'm for once not going to pick one here.
You just don't want to get in trouble.
I don't. Basically, I'm sitting on the fence this time, boys. I'm sorry.
I feel it. Yeah, it's happening.
It is.
Anyway, look it up. There's another elf off this week where maybe a season are taking on 2 thin courts, and that's. I mean, looking at the leaderboard, maybe a season is still top, even though they're 2-1-0 now. But still top joint with Mupatillo, of course, and 2 thin courts are down in 1-1-0, so they've got a little bit to make up. It's not the end of the world, but
that's true. But 2 thin courts team is coming together. I mean, he's got the strip ball War Dancer, the Mighty Blow War Dancer, and the Agi 5's back.
Yeah, and last time we said good things about maybe a season, and they came apart. So
yeah, maybe a season, of course. Bassman's Grob, somebody else that I know in this division. I kind of feel like we should call it the people who know McNaughton division.
That's kind of it's kind of what it is, isn't it? So, but no, I kind of still want to lean on Basman's here, but I don't want to curse him. I don't know. I think this is going to be I think this is going to be entertaining as hell. So I think whoever wins, it's probably the viewers.
Hopefully, I presume Mupatillo will be hoping for a big win from 2 thin coats.
Yes,
and Lucian as well.
That will definitely help his advance up the leaderboard, especially because he's got what would theoretically be one of the easier games, taking on Chugman Milk, as he's only 1-0-2 at the moment. Now, if the claw fires, Mupatillo could have a horrible time.
Yeah.
But on the whole, I mean, it didn't against you, right?
I've not played.
No, you played Mupatillo, is what I'm saying. So your claw didn't fire.
It took 2 cars and 3 KOs, so it probably did fire.
Not enough to stop
no real damage. No real damage. No. Yeah, and I would also quite like if Mupatillo was to just destroy Chugman Milk's team, because I play it following week.
That seems entirely biased.
I don't care. Chugman Milk, I hope your team implodes and dies, mate. I'm sorry.
Wow.
But if it doesn't, it probably then will kill my team, knowing my luck here. And yeah, so looking at Luciem and Captain Yasarian just behind first and second there, they will be looking at that game, hoping the 2 thin coats and Black Death Rips Jr. can pull a win or a draw out their matches to give them the boost.
What I'm liking already is, I mean, we say like there's some clear leaders, but really, I think even no one's got 3 losses yet for a start. No. And even Helgen and you have the potential, and Hardmaster who've had, and Meshuggah actually, who've not had the best of starts at 0-1-2, and the rest are on 0-2-1. And we're still early enough in the season that you can make a comeback with a couple of big Kaz in an important matchup, and a loss could really bring the top guys down and send the bottom guys up. So we're still close enough that I don't think it's easy to call any of this division yet. But
yeah, definitely. I mean, Meshuggah, I don't know all his games, but also he's away to play Helgen. He played me, so Meshuggah's played a lot of the AV9 games at the start. I've played the Orcs, the Lizardmen, and Lewishem's on Killable Kislev. So it will be interesting to see when those teams that have played a few of the Agi games at the start, they'll come up to the Kill teams or the Bash teams who have then had a few games under their belt. Teams like the Orcs, the Lizardmen, and the Nurgle are only going to get more scary the later on in the fixtures you play them.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. I mean, it's a weird one. Now, looking into the next game, it's actually it's speaking of the Unkillable Kislev. Their campaign continues against the Damned Horde, and they're getting to be a horde. There's 15 of these players, and even though Kislev even though there's a lot less Kislev because they're Kislev, they're actually the higher TV team.
Kislev, yeah, are known to be quite a bloaty race very early. Although not any tackle yet on the undead. So for those dodgeable players like the catchers and that, they might be tricky to catch.
He's only got one dodge. They don't come default with dodge, is the problem.
No. The strength 4 could be great for pulling down players with wrestle, whilst one of the zombies just run across and give it the old good kick in the face.
Well, there's the problem I think Lewisham is facing. He needs to slow down his positional purchasing, I think. He's got 3 blitzers and 2 catches and the bear already. But he's only got 11 players total. Now, for the smart of you people who can add up, that's 6, which means he's only got 5 line meat. And he's only got 3 rerolls. So he has no bench. He's going into Undead who have 15 bench. Well, not 4 bench, but 15 total. That's a big deal already. And if he keeps picking up players, the problem is there's only so much SPP on the pitch. Now, yeah, okay, he's got the Blitzer with Mighty Blow. That could develop very, very well. Of his own, he doesn't need to feed him touchdowns anymore. But he's got 2 blitzers with one of them catches, one of them's got dodge and guard, the other one's just got guard. So they desperately need SPP. But then there's also the wrestle blitzer and a fresh blitzer who are begging for SPP as well, because without SPP, these positionals are kind of bad. Yeah,
and with no bank as well.
I'm scared for him. This next game, if Hordemaster goes heavy on the kicking in the head, which is how I'd advise he plays it. Sorry, Lewis, there. You really gotta slow down a touch, and just get a couple of
levels on positional, and then go to the next one was what my advice would be. So, also having the wrestle blitzer there, I would have liked to see a second level onto him before picking up the third one.
Really, didn't he?
Yeah,
or strip.
Yeah, tackle or strip, depending on I'd say the games he's still got to play. And I don't know if I would have liked the 4th reroll before the positional as well.
I would have liked to see a 4th team reroll before we picked up the positional 11, the blitzer. Personally, we went a bit heavy on that team there, so we won't try not to focus too hard on the other teams. But I think it's either going to be leaping stuff is going to work marvels, and he's going to destroy the undead because they just get leaped in on, or he's gonna just have that thing where he just doesn't have enough players and defensive skills, and the horde are just going to drag his players down and trample them underfoot, right?
I do think though that the strategy by Lewisham here, it could be one that could work out extremely well. Like if he can get through his next 2 games or that and keep the bank and get some SPP, this Kislev team could be extremely difficult to beat.
Yeah, it's very close.
It's at that stage of it's either going to explode and go great or implode in one bad game.
It's either going to pop off or it's just going to pop, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, so it'll be very interesting to keep watching and see what happens with it. So
right. We've got a couple more to look at really quickly. We're running close on time, but we're almost there. So Zamaji Severa are taking on Thank You Parents. Now this was the... Thank You Parents is, of course, the Dark Elf, and it's a bit of a traditional matchup, that one, isn't it? Norse versus Dark Elves. Lots of block on both sides, more on the Norse, obviously. I kind of just got to give it to Dark Elves, if I'm honest. Agi 4 is a hell of a drug.
Agi 4, and also a Strength 4 now as well. The Norse, again, though, the Dark Elves don't have the greatest numbers, and the Norse could come in with a bit of fouling game and assert a lot of dominance on the Dark Elves through that. But yeah, I would probably say the Dark Elves themselves, RG4, not a lot of Mighty Blow in the north. RG4 could possibly pull that game off for them.
Yeah, I want to lean on the side of the Dark Elves just because I personally think that RG4 is really, really good. Anyway, finally, we've got the Rapscallywags versus yourself.
Yep.
It's going to be one of those things of, does AV7 hold, essentially?
I'm kind of liking the fact that I took that Mighty Blow now.
Yeah, suddenly not having guard seems like an advantage for you rather than a disadvantage. Now, they're actually more expensive than you as well.
Yes, which is fine by me as well. I don't have a lot of skills on my Hobgoblins yet. I have a Movement 7-1, which I'm a huge fan of Movement 7 on Hobgoblins. So he will become de facto ball carrier and pick up Sure Hands next.
It just makes me laugh that the fastest player on your team is now as fast as the slowest player on your opponent's team, if you don't count the minus move guys.
I was more disappointed that it was Nick Pure Raging that got it instead of Quick Ginger. Because Nick Pure Raging was definitely getting dirty player.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm hoping to put a lot more red in the ledger and avoid Slazy.
I assume you're hoping to find a win at some point.
I would like to find a win. I would like to find a whole load of SPP more. But
you're such a non-tryhard. Like, this is your chance, right? This I feel like this defines.
Is this the start?
No, this defines your season when you look at it, right? Because you're currently 0-2-1. You're playing a guy who's joint third in the div, who's 2-0-1. This is one of those, to me, must-win games now. If you're looking to see planes, I feel like this is a must-win game for you, and obviously that makes it almost a must. It's more of a must-survive game for you, Saurian. He doesn't necessarily need to win, but you kind of do.
Yeah. In a team sense of trying to make those planes, it's a game that I'd be looking to try and get the win from, and kind of kick on my season personally. Now, the problem is Armour 7 can either be Armour 7 or it can be Armour 9. So something as easy as taking offense and putting 3 Mighty Blow in the line and taking 3 rats out can be a huge bonus. He does only have 5 linemen as well.
It's true. Although, Armour 7 can be amazing, as we all know from painful experience in the past. But yeah, I think that this is one of the games to watch this week. There's a couple of interesting matches, but I think yours basically sets your season, I think, at this point, if you lose.
Yeah, so I'll hope that doesn't happen.
Anyway, that was the GMan 10A recap for week 3 going into week 4. Thank you very much for listening. If you've got any feedback, you find anything particularly interesting that you want to talk about, you've got to remember, just quickly, because I'm going to add this on each video at the end now, this is absolutely just our opinion. We may be wrong. We've been wrong before. We'll be wrong again. Doesn't necessarily, the wonderful thing about Blood Bowl is every build, there's merit across the board in doing things. Like, we went kind of hard on Louis there, but I mean, if it works, you'll look like a genius, right? If it doesn't, it will look right. And that's the wonderful thing about Blood Bowl is, like, there's so many different ways to play. There's no, this is the right way. Unless it's like taking a Rat Ogre, in which case don't.
No. The right way is take a Rat Ogre and name it Full Metal.
But you know what I'm trying to say, right? So these are definitely just our opinions. If you disagree, please do feel free to tell us. But do not get offended, because you've got to remember that it is just an opinion piece.
Yes.
It's for entertainment, guys. Entertainment. And thank you once again, McNugget.
Thank you very much. I will see you all next week.
Yep, take it easy, guys, and you all stay classy now.